No, this one I can understand. The other one I don't understand. But don't worry, man. I sent it to the head of the rules committee. We got our point back. So, and I can keep wearing it. But yeah, it's crazy what people get. Talk about or kind of get an uproar about. I think you never want to penalize your team. You don't, and it's silly that team points get taken away. I guess I don't know the best way to do it, but I know that me wearing an institutional jacket or top that's permissible shouldn't be team point taken. So I don't know. It took away from the match a little bit too, but I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. It gets people fired up, so I guess it's good, man. Like I said, I got more people talking about that than our team who coming into this season. Everyone's like, well, who the hell's going to fill this hole and this hole and this hole and this hole and this hole, and who's going to be this guy, and how they're not going to be anything. Took that real personal. And obviously our team has a long ways to go, but I could tell you, man, how we're competing. Very proud of how we're competing, how we're going about things, how we've trained, and our guys have lived. Throughout this spring, summer, and fall, and it's showing in how they're competing. We still got to get better, and our setting up our attacks and getting to offense. I think that's something across the board we're going to continue to work on. But we've been spending time on mat returns and just putting that extra effort in, and guys are doing it. And it's paying dividends in matches. When you can have a guy like Teskey who starts you out, I think gets that fire going, and how he's competing and how he's wrestling through everything, and he's getting better every time out. He's really starting to zero into his offense. He's riding really hard. Got another pin the other night, and then you're able to follow that up with, Bisco got taken down a couple times but didn't panic at all. And I think that's really important that our guys just keep steady. They're, hey, I might get beat in this position, but then okay, I got to make an adjustment in that position, and he did, and he got a pin, and you pin your first two guys. It's always good for a team and getting bonus points and getting things rolling. And then Bennett wrestled a good match. Good to get him a win and get some things kind of rolling. But he rode harder, and the things that we've been talking about doing, guys are doing them. And that's you love to see that stuff start to translate, because sometimes you work on things and you're like, hey, is this any of this stuff translating? So you're starting to see it translate with these guys. Tristan hit some incredible shots the other night. That's one thing, continue him to trust and believe in his offense, because he's got some really good offense, and you're seeing it in flashes. But man, hit some great attacks. Cade in the match, just kind of got to get him over the hump. I think he's got to, and I'm not giving Cade any type of excuse, but he's still working. He's still working his way back. In a lot of ways, just from his body went through a lot last year. He missed a lot of time, and he's still working. He's still working everything back into to competition, and it takes a lot of times longer than you want it. But man, his mind's getting stronger, his body's getting stronger. He's frustrated right now, but I think anytime you're losing a match, you get frustrated. But man, I believe in that guy and have seen what he's capable of doing. You want that to translate out in competition, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer to translate than you want it to. You're doing all the things that you can, you're doing everything right, and you're like, what's going on? Why isn't this happening yet? And sometimes you just got to keep knocking, and you got to keep digging, and you got to go farther. And that's that's where we're at with him. Pat hit a great shot. Just got to be able to get to that guy more. That guy's really, really long. Holy cow! I didn't realize. You realize till you see a guy on film, and then you get next to him, and you're like, that guy's really tall and long. I think, I know a match. You get a takedown. I think you got a takedown maybe in the last 15 seconds in that second period, and those are match shifters. In the fact that you're going 2-2 in the third, you're going down to get a lead. Now you're down 4-2. So get back to his offense a little bit more. Running to just pulling back a little bit on his shots. The effort's there. He's a great wrestler. And you're going to see it, and you've seen flashes of it. Just sometimes you got to remember these guys are he's 8-9 matches into his college career. He only wrestled 5 matches maybe last year, so he didn't have a ton of experience in the college. And I'm not giving an excuse. I'm just, hey, these guys are going to get better every time out. And this weekend having 3 matches is going to help guys, and 3 high level matches is going to help guys. Parker got taken down a couple times. That guy, he's got a nice attack. I'll give him credit, man. He's got some really nice attacks. The good thing is Parker didn't panic. And sometimes he gets you'll see things kind of speed up, and he didn't speed up. He was able to slow it back down. He's able to get back to his offense. He did a really good job of riding in that second period, and that ride in that second period really took a lot out of that guy. Even though he didn't score any points with it, but it's a we talk about psychological mental warfare in a match, and that's part of it. And you could kind of see that guy's turn a little bit, and then he got to a takedown, and then he finished with some emphasis too. I mean, that guy's belly was down, his head was down, he's on the mat, and a match where that guy gets the first 2 scores, and then he's like, I don't know what the heck I can do. And I'll tell you, Keegan Moore, man, incredibly proud of him and how he responded. Wrestled a great match, got bonus points for us. I think anytime you can get bonus points, especially late in the match, that's a great thing. It's seeing guys step up for the team. Maybe it's not the weight class I want to go right now, or hey, you know what, hey, you're going to go here tonight, and he went and he responded incredibly well. Wrestled his tail off. Looked strong. He looked strong, and he is strong. I think he's realizing that if he has to wrestle there, he can wrestle there, and he can win. Wrestle 84 wherever we need him. He's going to be able to step up for the team and do it and do it well. And then Carter probably get to a reshot a couple more times on the guy. The guy was moving pretty well, pretty athletic, heavyweight. So just find another way to open those guys up. And then extra matches. Scuds almost teched the guy in the first period. He's a guy that I want to be the guy, and I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go compete that way. And he making it hard on me to make that choice or figure out who's going to be going where. And all of our guys' job is to continue to get better and improve. And I'll tell you, I'm proud of our team right now and how they're going about things, even if they're not the guy. And that's what we got to have. If we're gonna do something, a team, we talk about you want to win Big 12s, you want to do this in the national tournament. Like, we have to continue to move forward as a group, and really, you can kind of feel effort. You can kind of feel energy and a little bit of excitement from the group, and we just got to keep building on that. Let's see, Basil wrestled a good match too. Man scrambles well, wrestles a hard pace. He won an extra match, and Gable had a kind of back and forth match, and Gable's getting better every time too. Even though you're talking about 4 or 5 matches, but I've seen improvement. I've seen him get into his offense. That guy caught him in a position. Sometimes that happens. Let's see, who else do we have wrestle? My bad. I gotta think here for a second. 57. We had Derek wrestle an extra match too, and man, hustling, fighting. And every time out, you're going to get Derek's best effort, and he's getting better. He's getting better through all his positions too. Then Tyrell, man, I think it was 10-8 after the first period. There was a lot of action, a lot of fireworks. I think that match where it was somebody was getting pinned by the end of that one, but I thought it was a good meet overall for us. I think every match that didn't go our way could have, and we certainly had opportunities to be able to do that. But excited for this weekend. We'll get 3 meets against 3 solid teams. Arizona State they wrestled last weekend, won some duels, looked pretty good. They got some good guys up and down the lineup, and then Northern Colorado, they got a really good team. You hope that their best team's they're able to put it on the mat. With everything that's going on, it's hard probably sometimes to get your full team, get your best team out there. Hopefully they will. And Iowa State, I think they had a few guys that they've been waiting to get back in the lineup. They got back in the lineup yesterday. So we're gonna have a lot of opportunities, a lot of ranked opponents. We'll wrestle 3 solid teams, and then then we're getting ready for our postseason, which is kind of crazy to think about, just because the season has been short, been quick, but it's been good, man. And I tell you, the feel that I get from our team, just the excitement that they have, the energy that they have, how they've responded to every challenge so far has been great. And I know this weekend will be the same, and then we'll do the same thing in the Big 12s. Looking forward to a good week of practice, and looking forward to getting our guys prepared for, Arizona State's the first duel. Arizona State's the first duel, and rest of Northern Colorado, and rest of Iowa State. And if you're in the state of Iowa, it's the only Iowa teams that are going to wrestle each other this year. And I'm not sure how many fans are going to get to come. I don't know what the ticket situation is, but man, everyone that possibly should be there and can be there should be there. Last weekend we went and there was no fans. It's different, but our guys are like, Coach, it doesn't matter. There's as long as I get to scrap, I'm good to do it. If it means there's no people in the stands, I mean there's freaking 50,000 people in the stands. Either one, man. I'm going out there for a purpose and going out there to represent my team, and I'm going to do it from whistle to whistle. So I look forward to Sunday. Like I said, three really good opportunities, 3 really good teams, and whoever shows up for those teams, we'll have guys ready to compete.
So I want to go back to Northern Illinois for a second, and the 1-point sweatshirt thing. I purely have it's not. I don't want you to get too specific on officials, because I know you can't really talk about that.
Yeah.
But it happened 3 or 4 matches into the duel. I think it was in between matches. Is there not a normal, a quote unquote normal process for? I mean, they've seen what you wore.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say it didn't matter in this duel, but it definitely could have become a factor, and it can going forward. It just seems to me that this is arbitrary and kind of insane. What's the normal process there? What did the official tell you on the mat? What happened?
Well, he told one of my assistants that I needed to take it off or change it. And I went back into the locker room, and Randy thought that when I came back that I had changed whatever I was wearing, because he thought that I told me. And then the side referee came over and was like, "Hey, you can't wear that." I'm like, I wear this almost every day meet, and I've never had an issue with it. So I unzipped it and I opened it up and I said, "Is this okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's okay." And then about 20 seconds later, the main referee, he stopped the match. He comes over and is like, "That's a point." And I'm like, "For what?" I told your coach that's his fault that he didn't tell you. And I was like, whatever. It's fine at the time. And then in between the match, I was like, well, I need to see this in the rule books, because they kept saying hoodie. You can't have a hoodie. I'm like, it doesn't say anything about that. And then, it's an institutional top. It's, if I was wearing this one that I'm wearing, I could understand. Obviously, I don't want to ever be in a spot where I cost my team the points that they've earned. And I think it's getting a little bit crazy and probably out of hand right now. And, I don't know if they're kind of being directed maybe because, you get to the national tournament and, we want the coaches in their corner and staying where they're supposed to. I don't know. With anything, when some people have power, they will have a tendency to abuse that power. And like I said, I got the point back, at least in my head, because I talked to the head of the rules committee, and he said that it's permissible sweatshirt. There's no issues with it, so I'm taking the point back. I don't know if they're ever going to give it back to us, and I can wear that moving forward. But it's something too where, hey, come to me at the start of the meet, and don't talk to my assistant either. Talk to me. Like he's like, I told him. I'm like, well, okay, but you see me right here. I'm right in front of you, man. So I didn't know I needed to take it off, and that's why I told him in between matches, like, I didn't know I needed to take this thing off. Otherwise I would have, because I think he thought we were just kind of, I don't know, I say big dogging him or whatnot. The thing is, unfortunately, when there's no fans, and you've been at a few meets where they can hear everything that is said, everything. Not some things. They can hear everything that's said, and we're going to fight for our guys. I even thought his sets, there was a lot of false starts, but his set was really hard. And you got to also understand that when there's no fans, you can hear things even better. So you probably don't have to set as hard. And, we said some things to him and some guys take exception to it. All I want is a fair match. I want things, and I'm trying to give feedback to you, giving feedback to me, and we'll roll with it. But I'm beyond that now. Like I said, I got some pretty good ideas of some things to wear, and some people have sent me some things that, they said no hats though, because I like the top hat and the cane and all that stuff, because I think that would look really, really sharp. But I'm gonna probably just stick with what I normally wear. So I don't know. There's been actually a lot of talk about these points getting taken away. A guy he wins a match and he tosses his headgear to his coach. It's a point. Some coaches go on the mat, it's a point, and then sometimes it's not. Like there's no. I think it's the same thing in basketball and any of these sports, though. I mean, if the guy's out of line, you know what? Okay, tee him up. But if he's just the normal, like just let it roll. So I don't know. I don't know if I answered your question or not. I mean, I think it was absolutely ridiculous and got people to talk a little bit, but we got it cleared up, and it won't be an issue moving forward.
Sure. You talked about it a little bit there. It seems like there's, between this match and even the Oklahoma State match, there's been a lot of cautions. And you even challenged the one at the Oklahoma State match.
Yeah.
Is that just because no fans and everyone can hear everything better, or worse, or what's going on there?
I think that's a little bit of it, and everyone's kind of got their own cadence too, I mean, it's supposed to be bottom man set, top man cover set, and then some roll into it, some take a little bit of break. I don't think there's any set pattern, you kind of got to get the pattern for, for each official. I can tell you that, I thought Oklahoma State was rolling through everything, if it was top or bottom, and if they're not going to call, because I've talked to some refs and they're like, well, as long as it's close, I'll let it roll. And I'm like, okay. As long as it's not close. I mean, there's a lot of them that, it's to me, it's very clear that this guy jumped, but it's like, okay, well, it's close. Let's just roll with it. And it happens all the time. So I guess you can maybe take advantage of that as in that position too. I mean, if say you get a half second start, or you get a couple inches, sometimes can make a huge difference in some of those positions. So I think a little bit official and, like I said, the atmosphere, but also I just think some of the teams are, hey man, I'll jump. I get two free ones anyway, so why not? And if they don't call it, then heck, I'm ahead of that guy and winning that race. So I don't know. Hopefully it gets cleaned up a little bit moving forward. They did. I'll tell you this: that the officials didn't have any preseason. They didn't have any of those, tournaments in November and December either. It's not like they were refereeing matches, so they're working into it too, So I don't have a problem as long as guys are working and they're trying. I mean, it's tough, man. I never want to be official, but I know the rolling starts it's been pretty apparent to me, and I don't that. Maybe certain teams are rolling that way. So I told our team we got to figure out how to do that too. Anything else?
Yeah. Why? What happened to Central Michigan? Why aren't they coming to Ames? Was that change up already in the works before the duel, before you guys moved it out there? What?
Yeah, they were just looking for matches. They were trying really hard because I think the MAC's been struggling a little bit to get matches, and they have some different rules, and some of the teams can only, go so far and do all these things, and they were just trying to get any matches that they could. And then when Arizona State came in, that adds another team, that adds another day. So we have to test 4 times this week because we're wrestling a Pac-12 team. And I think that's a little bit of that for them too, from a funding issue and getting out here. I know they wanted to do it, just it didn't work. There's been, I think every schedule has kind of had a lot of moving parts. I mean, even us moving over to Ames, has some moving parts to it. But just with 4 teams there and the setup that they have, especially with what we have going on this weekend here, if we could have used the Dome, we'd have done it in a second. If we could have used McLeod, we would have. Just with everything how everything else is set up this week with having basketball here and volleyball here and softball here, to me it was just, we'll move it over there. It's no problem. We'll have Iowa State come back next year, and we'll sell out the McLeod, and we'll wrestle them here instead next year, and we'll go over there. So you just got to roll with it sometimes. But looking forward, like I said, Arizona State coming back. Hopefully, knock on wood. I'm sure they hope their second visit to Iowa's they actually get to compete this time. Them in Northern Colorado and us in Iowa State, we finally get to wrestle them and kind of renew that rivalry. So, I think Central Michigan, just there's some funding things that took place, and we're not going to be able to do it.
So going into this this weekend, like you said, it's the final weekend. How do you use it moving forward in the Big 12? Do you look at it sort of as it's the only, probably not the only, but one of the few same day multi-match opportunities for you? Is that something that you use going forward in the Big 12 and NCAAs, or
Yeah, I
is
mean,
it too far away at that point?
no, absolutely not. I mean, we'll get 3 matches in, and if you have a first round match in the Big 12s, you could have 3 in a day. Just even having the break in between, having that time. We had set it up. I think we were going to almost do our last duel like at 7, so it was almost like what we did. What you do at the Big 12s and have that time. Not sure what happened from on that end, but either way, having multiple duels in a day, being able to have some downtime, getting your nutrition, we'll absolutely be able to use that, for our Big 12s and just preparation for that, because competition matches and matches in the room are they're totally different, and we're going to have a lot of ranked opponents too. I mean, these are a lot of high level matches for our guys, so yeah, I mean it absolutely is preparation for our Big 12s, and kind of last thing moving into it and just gaining some momentum and keeping the momentum going, and our regular season on a high note, and then we'll have almost 3 weeks where we get to train and really get guys really geared up and ready to step on the mat in Tulsa and score a whole lot of points, man. I mean, that's where I'm at with everything. Like, let's go score as many points as we possibly can, and getting some guys getting bonus points the other night. That's huge for us if we want to win that tournament. You got to be able to score bonus points. I know where we're building to, and I think everyone can see it and feel it too, and that's an exciting thing for a team. It's an exciting thing for a coach when you feel that energy and momentum, and guys are picking up on it, and other guys are pushing each other, and other guys are like, hey, I'll do this for the team, coach. It makes a coach proud, because they're bought into something bigger, and that's something we've talked about forever, and guys are actually putting it on display. So I don't know, I'm just like where we're going, man. And I think I've said it every year, but man, when you start feeling the energy, and you got a young group of, we got some young mixed with old, but again, man, I'll say there was not a whole lot of anything about UNI wrestling coming into this season. A lot of question marks, a lot of people, these guys aren't going to be very good because they lost this and this and this guy. And I've told our team, and I've told you guys the whole time, we will be better this year. And we still have things in front of us to be able to prove that. And obviously, your team didn't get to wrestle in the national tournament, but we're going to get a chance this year. So I know we're going to keep building for that.